Stay with me until the very end of this report, because in the final moments, I will be sharing my own perspective on this story, and I can promise you now, it may very well shock you. But before we get there, we need to carefully unpack everything that has just been announced, everything that fans have been buzzing about online, and everything that this moment means, not only for the music industry, but also for culture at large. So get comfortable, listen closely, and make sure to subscribe right now and hit that like button, because you will not want to miss what is coming. Coachella 2026. Just hearing that phrase is enough to send waves of anticipation across the entire entertainment landscape. This is not just another festival announcement. This is not just another set of names added to a poster. This is a cultural reset, a declaration of where pop, rock, hip-hop, electronic music, and global artistry are heading in the next year. And the headliners that have just been unveiled, they are names that are guaranteed to dominate headlines, set social media on fire, and have millions scrambling for tickets. Sabrina Carpenter, Justin Bieber, Karol G. Three titans of modern music, three icons of their generation, and three artists whose influence stretches far beyond the stage. On September 15th, the world stopped for a moment as Coachella dropped its official 2026 lineup announcement. And instantly the questions began. How did the festival manage to secure this trio of megastars? What does this mean for the evolution of the festival? And perhaps most importantly, what surprises are still waiting behind the curtain? Because as we all know, Coachella is never just about what's printed on the poster. It's about the unexpected duets, the career-defining performances, and the cultural moments that no one can ever fully anticipate. First, let's talk about Sabrina Carpenter. At only 26 years old, she's become one of the most talked about artists of her era. Just 2 years ago, in 2024, she performed her breakout hit Espresso on the Coachella stage, a performance that transformed her from rising star into international headliner. Now, she returns not as a guest, not as an opener, but as the main event. Headlining both April 10th and April 17th, she will be leading the charge and setting the tone for the festival's opening nights. Fresh off the release of her latest album, Man's Best Friend, which dropped in August, Sabrina is entering her most ambitious era yet. Fans are already speculating. Will she debut new material live? Will she bring surprise collaborators to the stage? Could we see another viral moment that dominates TikTok, Instagram, and beyond? These are the kinds of questions that drive the anticipation sky high. But Sabrina is not alone in defining this lineup. Sharing the spotlight is none other than Justin Bieber. At 31 years old, Bieber is no stranger to global attention. But this moment is unique. After years of reinvention, personal growth, and musical evolution, Bieber is stepping back onto one of the world's most powerful stages. His most recent projects, Swag and Swag 2, showcase an artist who is unafraid to experiment, unafraid to take risks, and unafraid to surprise even his most loyal fans. His headlining sets, scheduled for April 11th and April 18th, are already being described by insiders as potentially career-defining. Could this be the moment where Justin Bieber delivers his most legendary live performance? Could this be the point where we stop asking about his past and start focusing entirely on the present and future of his artistry? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The eyes of the world will be locked on him. And then, of course, there is Karol G. At 34 years old, the Colombian superstar has cemented herself as one of the most powerful voices in global music. Known to millions as La Bichota, she is far more than just a pop artist. She is a symbol of empowerment, cultural pride, and artistic versatility. After releasing her album, Tropicoqueta, in June and celebrating her first Grammy win in 2024 for Best Musica Urbana Album. Karol G is now preparing to take over the desert on April 12th and April 19th. Her fans, who span continents and languages, are already mobilizing. Social media lit up the moment she posted the lineup poster, declaring in her own words, "La Bichota as headliner." That phrase alone became a rallying cry, a declaration that this moment belongs not only to her, but to an entire generation of Latin artists who have fought for their place on the biggest stages in the world. But let us not stop at the headliners, because Coachella is about so much more than the top 3 names. The supporting acts read like a who's who of contemporary and legendary music. The Strokes will bring their timeless indie rock energy. 9 Inch Noise will deliver their industrial edge. David Byrne, the visionary behind Talking Heads, will remind us why he remains one of the most innovative figures in music history. Iggy Pop, the godfather of punk himself, is preparing to return with his raw and untamed energy. Young Thug is set to bring his unique brand of trap and hip-hop to the desert. Addison Rae, who just released her debut album, Addison, in June, will finally step fully into the spotlight as a performer in her own right. And that's just scratching the surface. Look deeper into the lineup, and the surprises keep coming. Sexy Red, the unapologetic voice of a new generation of rap. Teddy Swims, whose soul-drenched vocals have captivated millions online. Moby, the legendary electronic pioneer whose influence stretches across decades. Cascade and Major Lazer, both synonymous with festival anthems and euphoric live sets. FKA Twigs, the artistic chameleon whose performances are as much visual theater as they are musical showcases. Pink Pantheress, bringing her lo-fi soundscapes to the big stage. Big Bang, representing the unstoppable wave of K-pop that continues to dominate global charts. Somber, the alt-pop newcomer who has already built viral momentum with his track Back to Friends. The XX, with their signature minimalist yet emotional sound. And Katseye, the dance-driven sensation whose viral Gap campaign already proved their star power. Every one of these names adds a layer of intrigue to the lineup. Every one of them could deliver a moment that becomes the talk of the weekend. And remember, Coachella has built its reputation not just on who is announced, but on who shows up unexpectedly. Surprise guests, secret reunions, unannounced collaborations. These are the lifeblood of the festival. Will Sabrina Carpenter bring out a fellow pop superstar? Will Justin Bieber shock the crowd with an unreleased track or a guest verse from another global icon? Could Karol G unite the stage with other Latin powerhouses in a history-making moment? The speculation is endless, and that is exactly what makes Coachella the phenomenon that it is. But there is another dimension to this story, because when Coachella speaks, the entire industry listens. The choices made in this lineup are not just about ticket sales. They are about signaling the direction of global music culture. By placing Sabrina Carpenter, Justin Bieber, and Karol G at the forefront, the festival is acknowledging the balance between established icons, rising superstars, and the unstoppable influence of global sounds. It is a statement that pop music, Latin music, and cross-genre experimentation are no longer side conversations, they are the main event. Think also about the location itself. Indio, California, a desert town that transforms into the epicenter of global culture for 2 weekends every April. The dates, April 10th through 12th, and April 17th through 19th, are already etched into the calendars of millions. And the ticket frenzy? That begins on Friday, September 19th at 11 a.m. PT, when passes officially go on sale. The race will be fierce. The demand will be overwhelming. And the stories of fans securing or missing out on tickets will themselves become part of the cultural conversation. We must also talk about the way the artists themselves reacted. Karol G's post was not just an announcement, it was a declaration of pride, joy, and power. Justin Bieber's response, referencing his past with a cryptic caption, was another reminder of how his journey from boy wonder to seasoned veteran continues to fascinate the public. Sabrina Carpenter, for her part, has not yet revealed the full extent of her plans for the festival. But given her track record, fans are bracing for something unforgettable. And this is only the beginning. The road to Coachella 2026 will be paved with interviews, rehearsals, social media teases, and endless speculation. Each artist will drop hints. Each rumor will spark debates. And by the time the first notes ring out in the desert, the anticipation will have reached a fever pitch. The world will be watching. The world will be waiting. And the world will be ready to be surprised. So once again, do not go anywhere, because we are only just starting to scratch the surface. This story is still unfolding. The announcements, the reactions, the behind-the-scenes drama, it is all part of a much larger picture. And as promised, at the very end of this series, I will share my own perspective on what this all means. A perspective that may challenge how you see these artists, this festival, and perhaps even the music industry itself. Until then, make sure you are subscribed, make sure you have liked this video, and stay tuned, because what comes next is going to be even bigger. Now let me give you my personal view on this announcement. Coachella 2026 is not just about music. It is about power, influence, and cultural direction. The decision to bring Sabrina Carpenter, Justin Bieber, and Karol to the very top of the poster shows us one crucial truth. The music industry has officially accepted that the old barriers are gone. Pop, Latin, K-pop, electronic, and rap are no longer living in separate universes. They are colliding in one massive cultural explosion. This lineup is proof that the festival is no longer just an American playground for indie and alternative music. It has transformed into a global battlefield where genres fight for dominance and artists fight for legacy. Sabrina Carpenter represents the future of Western pop stardom, sharp, viral, calculated, but also capable of creating authentic cultural moments. She is walking the line between traditional stardom and the social media-driven, fast-moving industry of today. Her headline slot is a sign that youth culture is not just influencing the industry, it is leading it. Justin Bieber's inclusion is almost symbolic. For years, people doubted him, dismissed him, and even questioned if he still had a place in the industry. But here he is, front and center, once again commanding one of the world's biggest stages. His presence proves resilience. It proves that legacy artists can evolve, adapt, and rise again. To me, Bieber is no longer just an artist. He is a test case for survival in the ruthless world of modern fame. And Karol, she is the game changer. She is the one who forces the industry to admit that Latin music is no longer niche, no longer secondary, no longer limited by language. She embodies an unstoppable force that is reshaping global charts and redefining what it means to headline a stage like Coachella. Her presence at the top of the lineup is more than symbolic. It is revolutionary. When you put all of this together, the message becomes crystal clear. Coachella 2026 is not about comfort. It is about disruption. It is not about repeating the past. It is about rewriting the future. And this, in my view, is exactly why this lineup will be remembered not just as a list of names, but as a turning point in music history. The desert in April will not just echo with sound, it will echo with the sound of change. And that is my take. Shocking to some, maybe even controversial to others, but undeniable in its truth. Coachella 2026 is not only a festival, it is a revolution in plain sight.